Welcome chess friends. In this video I'm going to review some new functions in ChessBase 26, more specifically the AI function to describe a position, the opening report, the Monte Carlo simulation, and finally the new filters for blitz and rapid games. So we start with the AI function. So ChessBase has implemented this using ChatGPT. Now we know from the match between ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and Grok that large language models are notoriously bad at chess. So I was kind of surprised that ChessBase chose for this approach. But let's have a look at some positions. So I took 3 positions from the book Woodpecker Method 2, Positional Play, and more specifically from chapter 1, the public education exercises. So these are the simplest exercises in the book, and that's why they are called public education exercises. And we start with the position from Zukertort against Steinitz. So let's switch to ChessBase. So here you see the position, and I go to report and say consult AI. And normally this takes about 3 to 4 minutes. But you can see here that it loads immediately because I have consulted this position before. And so the evaluation is plus 1.15, a small but stable edge. Then it goes to describe where the kings and the rooks are and how active the minor pieces are. And then it gets to the plans, right? Good plans for white. First, stabilize d4 and put a rook on d1. Rook e1 to d1 is the simplest. Then in proof and probe, prepare the central break d5, right? So this is, it goes on, practical recommendations right now. The most prudent move is to put a rook on d1. It removes the tactical shot against d4. And the typical plans for black is knight a5 to chase bishop b3. All right, so if we look at this position, right, so this is an isolated queen pawns position. A typical plan for white, right, is to play d5 and time it correctly. And so the idea in the Woodpecker method, and which is also the strongest continuation, is to immediately play this, and white obtains a winning position after d5. So we look to the move that ChatGPT is suggesting, then indeed black has knight a5, and after bishop c2, b4, knight e4, black is just already better. So if we go back to this position, and I would start here the default engine, you can see that this is the moment to play d5, right? And so the evaluation, according to ChatGPT, was 1.15. And if you look here, right, it's more like +2. I'm only at depth 26. So it's much better. And this is the moment to play d5. And if you don't play it now, the opportunity is gone. So this is the first example. Let's go to the next one. So this is a position also from a game from Steinitz. So the idea of this Woodpecker 2 book is that all positions are from world champions and related to the pawn structure. So it's positional play. And you can see that the strongest move by far is g4. And it's interesting, right? If I enter a null move, so I ask, what should black play? you can see that d5 is the strongest move by black in this position. So g4, right? And then the idea is that after knight d7, h4, we continue the attack on the king side. And the king is actually safer on e1 than on, you could say, castling on g1. So that's why it's preferable just to play this immediately, and also not to allow black to have the counterpunch with d5. So if we now consult the AI material, okay, so evaluation 0.7, right? And then the plans for white, cast at king side, then centralize and improve, right? Practical advice, first make your king safe, castle short. Keep the c1 bishop guarding the e3 and b2, and after castling coordinate queen e2, rook e1, and then choose between a central knight hop or kingside space game. It's also here that if you look at this explanation, that it actually says a central break like d5 is not yet working for black because of e4 and the knight cover d5. What we just saw in the analysis, that if black were to move, that black's strongest reply in this position is actually the move d5. So no g4 immediately, bring the king into safety, and basically saying that black cannot play d5 while it's actually the strongest move. And of course there's this disclaimer, right, that AI can hallucinate. But the real question is what is the value when you look at the first two examples? And this is actually not an exception. This is like in 100% of the cases. So let me show you one more example. So in this position, right, you can see the two bishops on e5 and d3, and you're looking at some kind of double bishop sacrifice. And this is more tactical than the other two positions. And by far the strongest move, right? +2 is knight h5. So this is the idea. And white is winning, right? So knight h5 is by far the strongest move. So if I ask the AI to describe what I have to do here, it starts like the evaluation is 0.25. And this is based on an engine, right? So we saw it's about +2 after knight h5. So it describes all kind of things, why white is slightly better, white's pieces, especially the bishops, are more active, which is true. The bishops are a bit cramped on the black side. Everything is true, right? But if you see about the key ideas and plans, f5 is thematic. Prepare e4 with rook e1, right? But the whole idea of knight h5 and a kingside attack is not mentioned at all. So I think I'm kind of disappointed that ChessBase chose for a large language model without any, you could say, control of it to give this kind of advice. And there are a few things I would like to say about this. The first thing is, when you are a club player, right, it's very hard to understand which of the ideas are incorrect and which ones are correct, right? When you consider that this would be an authority, right, then you have to be an authority yourself, a very strong player, to assess whether the advice is sound or not sound. And I think that makes it completely unusable for club players because you just cannot rely on it at all. It's not like it makes mistakes and it's hallucinating now and then. We saw 3 positions, and in 3 times it was not basically giving the right evaluations, the right plans, and understanding the essence of the position. So what I had expected, if you look at this position, right, or in general, that ChessBase has, of course, enormous resources with their mega database. There's Stockfish. They have power books. They have so many elements. They have the Lichess database with the 8 billion games on their server, a copy that they can access very quickly. And I would have expected that they would have combined all these resources and given them to ChatGPT and then ask ChatGPT to create something better. I think in the end, the holy grail is if someone is able to interpret the weights in the neural network file of NNUE of Stockfish in human terms. So if there would be language that describes what is going on in the neural network when it evaluates the position. And that would be the breakthrough. That would be really valuable. But for now, I think it's a missed opportunity that ChessBase is not using all the information it has to kind of guide ChatGPT and let ChatGPT summarize instead of spitting out this nonsense. Okay, so that is about the consult AI function. Let's go to the other function. So you can see here the opening report, right? So I'm having here, of course, I'm very interested in the Alekhine defense because I published a course on it. And let's go to this position, right? And so first, let's one more time look at what the AI function is saying about this position, right? So this is kind of a tabia. It just starts, right? And it says evaluation black is slightly better. So and they say that they are consulting an engine, right? But if you would give this to Stockfish, it's plus 0.8. And the evaluation here is black is slightly better. And then it comes to reasonable candidate moves for black, bishop e7. That is true, bishop b4, knight b4. But it leaves out the number 2 move, bishop g4, and the number 3 move, queen d7. So it's like missing key moves. And if you want maximum safety, choose bishop e7 followed by castle and then look for f6, right? That's the practical advice. Well, if you look to my course, of course, we go d5, right? And this is best play by black. And if you want to have safe play, this is what you will get, right? So the board is completely on fire. So also in that respect, it's just the evaluation is incorrect and also the practical guidance is incorrect. And I think it's very hard for club players to say, what should I trust and what should I not trust? Because you have to be an expert to make that assessment. So now let's go back and let's just have a look at this position. And let's do an opening report. And I'm only choosing long games, right? So I want to exclude blitz and rapid. And in order to have it finished quickly, I'm not going to include the analysis and the tactics for now. So you can see now it is pretty fast, right? So it's creating this opening report. So there are a few things. So now it says there are 1,378 games in the mega database. Note, blitz rapid games are excluded from this report, right? So I can click and then it will generate this search result. And now if I sort on a tournament, so to my surprise, right, you can see how many games of the title Tuesday blitz are included. So you select long games, you get a report which says blitz and rapid are excluded, and then there are many blitz and rapid games included. So for me, it's very weird because I will show you later, if you filter the games, they will be excluded, right? So I have a separate database with only rapid and classical games. And then they are not there. So the tag is correct on the game, but the process of selecting the games is incorrect. So this is just a bug that is in the program. So let's have a look. And I just would like to go down, right? So one of the new things, okay, there's fashion index and things like this. Strong grandmasters as white. I think one of the things that struck me here is that you can see it's only one game, right? So it's like a very small population. But then, of course, what they think is very special at the moment is that it's now the performance is sorted based on Elo range. But this is based on your reference database. And I wonder how many club players both have ChessBase 26 and the mega database, because the quality of your analysis is based on the quality of the reference database. And secondly, right, if you look at most club players, they will be in the 1400 to 1800 range. And you can see, if you look to the mega database, that the most games are played at the level 2100 to 2400. So I think it's a missed opportunity that ChessBase doesn't make the Lichess database available for creating an opening report, and they could make a selection. They can say it's only classical games on Lichess, or it's only rapid and classical, because then you would get many more games at club player level, and you don't have the bias that you have in the mega database, where basically the most games are being played at the level 2100 to 2400. And they have it available on their server, like I mentioned before. So they would have to make a selection of the 8 billion games. And if you exclude the bullet and blitz, it will go down tremendously. And then they could make that available for creating an opening report, because I also think that a lot of players will not buy the mega database in addition to the program itself. So this about the opening report, it's nice. Everything is, of course, clickable, but there are two main points for me: the reference database, and then the second thing is that this filter is not working. And let's look at one more time, right? So if I close it here, I will just show you all my files, and you can see I have here the mega, classical, and rapid. So these are all the games, and what I did is, like, there are 11.8 million games in the mega database, and then I filtered, right? So you can, if you go in the mega database, you can filter the list, and you can go to advanced, and then you can filter out the blitz games. And then I deleted them and I packed the database, so made sure that they were deleted. And then I have a separate database that I maintain also with the weekly updates. because there are in total 1.4 million blitz games in the mega database, which is about 12%. Doesn't sound so bad. But more recently, of course, after COVID, this percentage is not 12%, but more 20 to 30%. And I don't want every time when I do a search, a reference search, right, to be confronted with, so if we look, I don't want to be confronted with Title Tuesday games. So also in the reference, right, if you look here, you can see here on the top, this is the mega database 2026. And you can see here, if I select a rapid and classical only, right, you can see the first game, right, is from Title Tuesday. So this whole function of selecting is broken. And you can see if I select my own creation based on the filter that I just mentioned, that here this is no longer there. So there are 234 games after bishop d7. And if I go back and I go to the mega database and I select here rapid and classical, you see 241. So there are 7 blitz games somehow included. And I think it's, for me, so weird that if a game has a tag that is a blitz game and it's correct in the database, that when you have a function and that selects the rapid and classical, that they come through. So I reported this bug to ChessBase, and let's see what is going to happen. So finally, let's go back. So one of the things that also have been implemented, so let's take just the standard position, right? We can say, okay, let's go to after bishop e7. If I start the engine, there is now the function Monte Carlo. So start, stop the Monte Carlo, right? And now it's going to self-play games, and I can allocate my CPUs between the Monte Carlo and engine, right? So you can see here total number of threads in use for the engine 16, total number of threads in use for Monte Carlo 13, current default threads for Monte Carlo 8. Okay, so if I go here, right, you can see, let me lift it up. So it's starting to self-play, and you can see basically how the performance is of white and black. And the idea is that you wait until there are more than 1,000 games played, and then you get a more reliable picture of what the best plans are for both sides. And so one of the things is that when you hover over a piece or including pawns, that you can see what the typical maneuvers are, right? So if I go to the queen, you can see queen d2, right? When it's in green, it's by far the best move. And when it ends in a circle, it's a capture, right? So queen d2 is a typical maneuver here. And you can do that for pawns too, right? So you can see the pawn, in this case, right, would go to f3 and then to f4, but you can see it's not completely green yet. We have to wait until we reach 1,000 games. But my question is actually, when you look at ChessBase in general, right, there exists a Plan Explorer. So in Plan Explorer, you can see what the typical plans are, and this is of course based on databases, and you can see the maneuvers that typically are being played, right? It's one of the nice things about Chessbook. It also indicates what typical games are. So my question is, when you look at the Monte Carlo, so you have 1,000 games that you're waiting for. Each game takes less than a second. So I have no idea what the quality of these games are. And then in the end, you can, right? You can see here, right? So you can see this pawn can go to c5, or it can capture on d5, right? So the question, if you look at this position, for me is, what is this pawn on c4 going to capture on d5? Right? It's like there's no pawn there, right? So the real question is how will this capture take place? So it is kind of interesting to see what the typical maneuvers are, but those maneuvers, right, they come together in a storyline. And the storyline, they belong to one variation. And you can see now we reached 1,200 games, right? So now it's stable, right? And you can see capturing on d5 in this case is the best continuation. But it's like, really, like, well, how is that going to happen, right? Is black going to play b6 to d5 and then the pawn is going to take there? It's yes, of course, there's one line in which this is going to happen, which is after white plays d5. And then it's indeed, of course, an idea. But, well, in general, of course, the question is, what are the variations that come with these maneuvers? Because now you see just maneuvers of one piece, but you don't see how they act together. So that was my review of ChessBase 26. So we looked at the new AI function based on ChatGPT. I think it's a missed opportunity because ChessBase has a lot of information that could be used to steer ChatGPT. And now at the moment, it's just spitting out nonsense. And it is very hard for amateur players to know what is nonsense and what is truth. On the opening report, I think we saw that we now have different Elo ranges, but you need a very strong reference database, and the mega database is focused primarily on, you could say, 21 to 2400 or 1800 to 2400. But if you're a club player between 1400 and 1800, the number of games are limited. So it would have been very nice if you could access the Lichess database for free, which is on the ChessBase server. And then they would make a selection out of that database. And finally, on the Monte Carlo, for me, right, there's the Plan Explorer. There is in this position also the openings book, which gives an indication, right, if you go to the live book, which moves are most often played, and the evaluation. So I have to connect for that, right? You can see here, like bishop e2, d5, and so you can see the typical moves that have been analyzed on the by users of ChessBase with different engines. And for me, the combination of the Plan Explorer and then the live book, the Monte Carlo doesn't add a lot of value. Thank you for watching. I hope this was interesting. And please subscribe, and I hope to see you again. Bye, everyone.